Hi guys, welcome back to the Spinster podcast. This is the third in the series. So I just want to start off and say thank you for listening. I've now put the podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Pocket Cast, and Radio Public, so you can find me on there, or you can watch me on YouTube as well. To kick off with, I'm going to go over what happened on Monday Night Raw. And yeah, let's get straight into it because I have got a lot of venting to do towards it, and it's getting really annoying now. I don't know why I put myself through it. It's getting to the stage now where I feel like giving up. It's just because it's comical. That's the way I want to explain it. It's comical. Right, so Monday Night Raw, I don't know if you saw it, but wasn't the greatest. Again, New Day getting torn apart by the Revival and RKO, which is a strange pairing considering the Revival were teamed with Shane McMahon, and now they're teaming with the Viper Randy Orton. Okay, is this the new version of Legacy, you reckon? One of the top tag teams that don't really need a third person, so it's like third wheeling. I just don't understand it. It just makes no sense at all. Against the New Day, which again, I have some reservations about Kofi Kingston being champion, and for the amount of period, like the time frame that he has actually been champion, it makes no sense. Because let's don't beat around the bush here. He's not exactly championship material. He's been in the business a while, 14 years. Well done for winning your first title. You've given him his title run. Now to give it to some serious contenders. You've got bags of main event talent who probably deserve an opportunity at the title instead of Randy Orton, because they always seem to fall back on the old pros. They don't really focus on the new guys, like EC3's rotten in main event, Bobby Roode, who's not getting used. You've got AJ Styles, who's the United States title champion, but he deserves to be a WWE champion because he carries it really well and he's got the charisma to do it. You've got Kevin Owens, but we'll talk about more him on SmackDown, because yeah, that just sort of fucking pissed me off for now. Yeah, I don't know if it's me or if you guys agree, but it's getting stale. Both brands are getting stale. I think SmackDown's a bit more entertaining because you've got the proper true heel. There's no true heels on Raw, not in my eyes. You've got the Club, which if they added Finn Balor would be way better, so then you could have an inter-brand challenge with the Undisputed Era. Just saying, you know. The OC, Anderson and Gallows, and then AJ Styles and Finn Balor if they went that way. But then you went to new tag team champions. Just when it seems to look that they're pushing Anderson and Gallows, they go and fuck them over and give it to someone else. Because I'm scratching my head, like, you've got a main eventer and needs to have a title run at some point, Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins as tag team champions on Raw. Yeah, really? Seriously, come on, away. You've got a decent enough tag team division, yet you're making tag teams, Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman, and giving them championships. Why? Because of the face of the company. More Seth Rollins than Braun Strowman, but I just don't understand it. Not when you've got Usos, the OC, the Tucker and the big guy, Heavy Machinery, sorry. You've got all these tag teams and you're doing nothing with it. You decided to make a tag team of Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins and give them the titles. because that's what you think the people want. No, it isn't. What they want is proper tag teams fighting for the tag team titles. Flashback, Edge, Christian, Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, Headbangers, Legion of Doom, Bushwhackers. Teams like even the Rock and Rollers that have made the name in the tag team division. But you've done it and upset the balance by Braun Strowman, who isn't a tag team with anybody, and Seth Rollins, two individual superstars. One's the WWE Raw Universal Champion, and the other one hasn't been given the title run because he pissed people off at the top. But he's supposed to be a monster. Yet you haven't given him a title run. Big Show, I'm sure he's had quite a few championship runs. Yes, he was tag team champion with Chris Jericho, undisputed, which Jericho probably could have gotten him over. That's the difference. Jericho can, for some reason, he's got like a magic touch and he can turn everybody into winners. Whereas Seth Rollins, on the other hand, for me, he's too far gone. So whoever, if you remember him as Tyler Black's no more. He's very much a corporate man, and he's very much a yes man. He potentially could be the next John Cena. Where, yes, how many bags? 3 bags. You want me to jump off this bridge? Nee, but I'll do that as well. However, man, sort yourselves out. It's a mockery of what the legendary tag teams that stood before them that have held WWE Tag Team Gold. Go back, like I say, go back to Edge, Christian, Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys. I always remember when that was announced, Mick Foley came out, we're going to have our first ever TLC match. Tables, ladders and chairs, oh my! And it's like, yeah, got the ball posters going in, and everyone, the hairs on the back of your neck going, yeah, proper tag team fighting, yeah. You had the tables, Dudleys, ladders, Hardys, chairs, Edge and Christian, and they sold it really well. They didn't do it once, they did it twice. But then now you've got tag teams like the Ascension that are potentially just cannon fodder. They're just not doing anything, sitting at the bottom of the barrel. It's ridiculous when they give. That just backs it up when they give it to Daniel Bryan and Rowan. It's like, why? And why are you teaming Rowan up against Daniel Bryan when Daniel Bryan was fighting before he had his neck injury against the Wyatt family? Can you... They won't explain themselves, how they're bigger than me and you know what I mean? But it's just... It beggars belief of who they got writing for them, and who's the creative director, and who's thinking that this makes sense. It doesn't make sense. That's like putting Spike Dudley with, I don't know, The Undertaker. Would that make sense to you? Because it wouldn't make sense to me. Oh no, hang on, sorry. Spike Dudley and Goldberg. Really? No. No. Gillberg and Goldberg. However, really? One that's like, what? 94 kilograms, wet through. Or like 9.5 stone, wet. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? It makes no sense. How they're gonna defend the titles when you've got nobody that's challenging Seth Rollins for the title. You've pretty much done and dusted with Drew McIntyre, who left WWE to improve himself, reevaluate, come back, bigger and badder. In my eyes, way better than his other 3MB member. I can't even remember I don't even remember his name because he just disappeared again. But to give him a title run, and it's a head scratcher. You've got Drew McIntyre. He's one of the baddest characters you've got. Yet you're willing to give Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins the tag team titles. and Seth Rollins to beat Brock Lesnar again. Are you running out of ideas? Are you just David versus Goliath? Are we gonna have a part 5 since this keeps happening? It's just we're going back to 2014 and repeating ourselves. Like, the storylines are just so bland. I read an article on, I think it was on Facebook, on one of the wrestling forums, and Triple H was saying like the storylines, they can't last too long because people get bored, because the way they're portraying the storyline makes people bored. They get bored with it in the first 5 minutes. You've got all this talent, you're doing nothing with it. You've got some big names that can be some big players and improve ratings, and the crowd want to see them because they are good. They've got the charisma to do it, but you're not willing to use them. Go back and watch TNA Impact Wrestling when EC3, Bobby Roode, even Bully Ray, Mr. Trickmore Bully, and watch how they did. They did really well, especially Bobby Roode as a heel. It was phenomenal. He's got the charisma to do and say what he wants, gets away with it. EC3 again, he's got the physique, the charisma, and he's over with some of the crowd because they know and they've seen him, and they reciprocate everything off him. So why, beggars believe why they don't give these guys the opportunity to have a title match or give them a title run. They took a chance with CM Punk. Look what CM Punk did. But he had the charisma. He wasn't the biggest of guys, but he had the charisma to back himself up, and he started from backyard wrestling up over, fighting in his back garden, going through the independent scene, Ring of Honor, New Japan, and then going to ECW, winning the title, and then winning the title, the heavyweight title. Yeah, he lost it in a couple of weeks, but you still give him a title. But it just seems to me you're running out of ideas, and you've got no idea what the people want anymore. Is it time for a change? I think so. I think they need to go into a different direction. They need to do something think outside the box, completely different. Do what they did when Brock Lesnar brought the streak. The shock that sent at WrestleMania was unreal. Now Brock Lesnar broke the streak. I was stunned, and I think everybody, that guy in the crowd with his eyes almost popping above his head, he was definitely surprised at that. But it just doesn't make sense now. It's like they're getting old material. They're going in the archives and going, oh, we can use this storyline again, or we use this one again. But hey, move on. They also had on Raw the first in the King of the Ring qualifiers, Cesaro versus Joe and Alexander versus Zayn. Joe won and Alexander won. Sami Zayn, I did feel sorry for him, but then again, I'll go into SmackDown in a bit. Cesaro and Joe. Cesaro again, Vince McMahon doesn't really like him that much because he doesn't think he's got the charisma, but in my eyes, because he's teamed up with Natalia's husband, and then he teamed up with Sheamus, he's done really well as the Bar, and he's very charismatic. He doesn't get the credit he deserves. He needs to have a title run. Yes, he's won the USA title, and I think he's won the Intercontinental Championship, but isn't it about time you give the Swiss Cyborg a chance? Maybe he's a push and a run at the top. Or Samoa Joe, again, you bring someone like him in who's charismatic, brutal, and knows what he wants and how he wants it. You only have to watch his up, down, down championship reign. He beats everybody that comes in. Yes, he's playing video games, and yes, he's playing games, arcade games, as well as space hockey and basketball. But even then, he turns it on. He's got the charisma to pull people over and makes me interested in watching it. And I think that's why Xavier Woods has gone and got him involved in it. And I think Joe, when you follow him on Twitter, I think one of the tweets I remember seeing was he was trying to set up his Xbox while he was waiting to board a plane. And so he's into his gaming. So it's an absolute winner there. But overall, I think this King of the Ring thing is, it's just another thing where they've run out of ideas, because they've brought it back, but again, it's one of them where they needed to do something. But again, with the brackets that I've seen and the fight on the Raw and SmackDown side, it's like you've got your big name players in Raw all fighting each other, and then you've got some of your big players, not as big names in the SmackDown one. Oh, I'm not disregarding SmackDown, not at all, but it's like I just don't get it. I really don't get it. Anyway, my overall thoughts on Raw was it was terrible. The RKO and Revival taken apart and doing over the New Day. Again, we've seen it all before. This is just like a new version of the Legacy. Sasha Banks coming back. For someone who's put a dummy out and has been on holiday for the best part of since WrestleMania, and then comes back and gets one of the biggest storylines, just makes you think that WWE is scared to piss the talent off, because in my eyes she doesn't deserve that compared to some of the other female wrestlers that aren't even getting used, but yet she just swans away back in and does over Natalya and then starts a fight with Becky Lynch. So you know what's going to happen there, don't you? She's going to get a title fight, then she's going to get the title just to keep her happy. And it's like, really? I thought there was things in place that stop people from doing that, where you can just swan in and then swan out and do pretty much undermine everything and do what you want. That's what that tells me. It's like you can have your little hissy fit, go your different way. I understood the hissy fit to begin with the tag team titles. They've only just won them, then they're going to drop them to the Iconics, which, bad move. They should have kept Sasha Banks and Bayley tag team titles and have that little running battle with the Iconics, because that would have made the female tag teams division a little bit more interesting, rather than taking it straight off them and letting the Iconics win, and then the Iconics get beat by Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Don't get me wrong, Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss are seeming to be doing alright, but you've only got one tag team of like female wrestling. That's the Iconics. You have got the other four, the other two tag teams, which weren't really tag teams. They were factions. They weren't tag teams. There was more than one member. There was always like 3 or 4 members, whereas having the Iconics, you needed more, and they were just forcing people to tag team together, which I don't get, but hey ho, what do I know? Never mind. Anyway, let's move on to SmackDown. Overview. Here we go. Right. Shane McMahon, the Grim Reaper of SmackDown. Pretty much all he's doing is playing Vince McMahon, and Kevin Owens is playing Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because it's the back and forwards, they're getting screwed, the constant battling between them, and the authority figure getting undermined by he's not even the person that's standing up for himself and standing up for what he believes in, and not the whole DTA. And we've seen it before, we don't need to see it again. Shane just needs to do what he's done in the past and just disappear, because he's doing nothing. But again, he is actually doing something, because he's showing himself as a true heel, and that's what you love to see, a true heel. And he's pissing everybody off, but that's what he's supposed to be doing. That's the role he's taking, and that's what he's doing, pissing everybody off, which again is a good heel. But he's not the best in the world, and that annoys us. The whole catchphrase that he reckons he's the best in the world, he's not. He's terrible. He's always got people to back him up. Like, going on to the King of the Ring, SmackDown, Owens Elias, where Shane O'Mac comes in, screws over Kevin Owens, and Elias wins. Again, it just proves that they don't have much faith in the current crop of talent they've got. If Shane McMahon's getting involved, or even Triple H or Stephanie are getting in the main roster, so Raw and SmackDown, we'll get to NXT there, it just beggars belief. And it's Vince McMahon sitting in that chair behind the curtain calling it out. And has he got Alzheimer's or dementia or something, where he's got something in his brain that this is all hitting him at the first time again? Or is he just losing the plot completely? I just don't know. But the biggest point of that one is, how do we make the Intercontinental Championship relevant again? Right. Let's see. Who is the best wrestler on the current roster that carries that belt really well and gets pissed off when it doesn't get utilised? The Miz. So here we go again, because we haven't seen this before. And Sami Zayn being the voice of Nakamura. Really? So Sami Zayn is now going to be a manager / spokesperson slash advocate for Shinsuke Nakamura. That, it sort of makes sense, because Nakamura, he speaks a little English, but he's Japanese, and predominantly he speaks Japanese, so it makes sense to having like a translator or having someone to do his promos for him. But to me, that's just lazy. He's the Intercontinental title. That's the first time he's been on TV in months that I've seen him, and he's carrying the Intercontinental title. I even forgot about the Intercontinental title, if I'm being completely honest with you. I actually forgot about that it exactly exists. I thought it had been rested and defunct, but obviously not. Came back, and how do you make it relevant again? Obviously, you've got to take it to the Miz. And again they did. Miz TV. Sami Zayn comes out, runs his mouth, says he's going to be spokesperson, then Nakamura comes out, then they jump him, and yeah, we've seen it all before, so we know what was coming. But my final thought on that, it's just annoying that they can't think of anything new to try and push the current belts that they've got. It's infuriating. But what do I know? I just enjoy watching wrestling in general. I love watching wrestling. It isn't a sport, but it's entertainment. But it's like me watching a TV soap or a TV drama, because in the ring they should be telling a story. There shouldn't be all this jibber jabber and people shouting at each other and replaying different storylines that we've all seen before, and it's dragging out, it's getting stale, and it just seems they're not getting any new ideas. You've got Buddy Murphy, who's coming through now, and he seems to be getting a decent amount of airtime, but again, he's getting squashed. Where he beat Daniel Bryan on SmackDown, but then he's getting beaten up for it by Rowan and Daniel Bryan. That really doesn't make sense to me at all. It's just they've got no idea what to do with the talent that they've got. You've got Buddy Murphy, you've got Ricochet, you've got some Even Shelton Benjamin, who came back out of it after that, he went in the independent scene. He's come back. They haven't really pushed him. He was supposed to come back be champion, but again, they've run out of ideas. The only person that keeps getting a push is the Roman Reigns, and it just seems to be the same thing day in day out with him. The really screwed Roman Reigns up was, I know I've said it before, and I think I said it in the first podcast, was when he was in the Royal Rumble and he matched Kane's eliminations and he was over with the crowd. That's when he should have won the Royal Rumble, not when he actually won the Royal Rumble, because they screwed him out of it, and then that's when the crowd lost interest. Not Roman's fault. It's the higher people that be, and they're just not. They don't seem to be that bothered. But my complete overview of the main shows, Raw and SmackDown, very poor. They need something to bring the spark back, bring something back, bring something different. Not the same storylines or the same similarity between the storylines, or ruining the tag team division by making tag teams, or bringing one individual back and then letting her have the run of the roost, because you're not letting the other women do it. Becky Lynch fought tooth and nail because she was always put to the back. She wasn't blonde, she wasn't tall, not like Lacey Evans or Charlotte Flair, who again is getting another title fight against Bayley because they've run out of ideas with the SmackDown women's title, because there's nobody in the women's division that's good enough. Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Sarah Logan. You've got, what's her name, man? You have got numerous amount of women that are in Raw and SmackDown that are just not getting the opportunity. Like, what was the point in the whole Charlotte versus Trish Stratus? Just another thing to get more views. Oh, did you notice that they're bringing the Undertaker back? Please just let him retire, for God's sake, man. He's not gonna walk the ropes. He's not gonna bounce the flying. He's not gonna do flying lariats. You know what I mean? He's not as agile as he was. He's getting old. Let the bloke retire. He's give you best part of over 30 years. Let the man retire. Jesus Christ. Yes, I know he's a dead man, but he's still human after all, you know what I mean? He's looking frail, slow, sluggish. He's not as the top of his game as he was. He probably still is, but I think he agrees. I think his time's done. Put him in the Hall of Fame and let him just live his life. The one thing I did like was when Edge made an appearance at SummerSlam and he speared Elias. So do you reckon Edge has got another match in him, since his neck's feeling better and he's had years to let it heal properly, since he was told that one more bad bump and he was going to be paralysed, but he seems to be fine. Should he have one more fight? Yeah, aye. However, Shawn Michaels keeps fighting, Ric Flair kept fighting, The Undertaker's keeping fighting, not by choice. Well, that's how it comes across anyway. You've got Goldberg, he does it for I think he loves the business, but it's got to be money. However, Brock Lesnar's only the one that does it for money. But it's getting to the point now where it's just getting ridiculous. You know what I mean? You're gonna lose your fan base. You need something that's entertaining. Your Raw and SmackDown fans are going to go to NXT. Fact. But then, we're going on NXT now. So NXT made an announcement that they're going on the USA Network, and they're going to be on a Wednesday to try and rival AEW. Good shout. But then on the flip side of that, I heard that Vince McMahon, I read that Vince McMahon will have some input on NXT. Oh, for God's sake, please don't let it be true. I haven't seen anything else on it, but I hope to God it's not true. Triple H and William Regal have worked too damn hard, and along with Dusty Rhodes, to build that brand to the where it's getting, because it is far superior to Raw and SmackDown, because it's different, it's new, it's fresh. Every talent on the roster gets an opportunity. You've got the battles between Johnny Gargano and Adam Page. Sorry, Adam Cole, baby, which were phenomenal. And then you've had Candice LeRae, his missus, who had her first fight at NXT TakeOver. I think it was, she had her first fight at NXT TakeOver. You've even got the Street King Profits, is it? The tag team, I think the former tag team champions now. Well, they still got them. I'm not sure. I got that pissed off that. Yeah, with Raw and SmackDown in my head's on my horse. But I'm not even gonna lie. It's just it's frustrating. It is frustrating. But if he has anything to do with NXT and he takes the control out of Triple H's hands, that's when NXT will flop. Why? Look at Raw and SmackDown. You've got the longest episodic TV show on American TV, Monday Night Raw, and the ratings dropped again from the previous week. So that tells you something straight away. People are just turning off. This is when moving on to AEW is the right time to strike, because for the first time ever, I think Vince McMahon finds himself in a bit of a limbo period where he doesn't know what to do, because he's got different people in his ears and telling him different things and blah 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 blah, but he's just reverting back to what he knows. So we're seeing a lot of reruns of different scripts, but with different people but the same thing, which makes no sense. Whereas AEW's fresh. It's got Cody Rhodes, it's got the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega that are helping run it. But then the talent on AEW, which is really good. So you've got on the All Out pay-per-view, when that kicks off, their main event is Jericho versus Page for their first ever AEW champion. Then you've got the Revenge, Cody Rhodes versus Shawn Spears, the chairman of AEW. And then you've got Omega versus Moxley. I'm sorry, but I have to mention this. MJF, you're an absolute tool. You are a bum-licking douchebag. Yes, you're a good heel, but you are an absolute bum crawler. You do yourself no favours. I watched a video where Cody Rhodes must have been fighting MJF, and then Shawn Spears comes out, attacks MJF, and then goes into the ring, and Cody Rhodes and Shawn Spears do a bit back and forwards, and then MJF gets involved with a steel chair. It's like, get out of Cody's horse, you stupid bastard. Do you really think you're one of his best friends? Yes, you eat at his house, but seriously? Really? Cody knows a lot of people, and I don't think you're his first choice of his best friend. You class him as your best friend, but I don't think the feelings are reciprocated. But I'll be surprised if MJF isn't the one that's in Cody Rhodes' corner come All Out. But if you go on to AEW on YouTube and you watch some of the episodes and you're showing everything that goes on behind the scenes, just look at how much fun they're having, how much they're doing, they're enjoying it, the experience of doing their own pay-per-views and bringing in the talent from all over. It's not just Americans. They've got Kip Sabian, who is unreal. They've got Adam Page, Hangman Page, who's really good. Jungle Boy, was it Luchasaurus? Best Friends, the tag team. Even the women's division, they've got Adam Cole's missus, Britt Baker. Will Ospreay's missus, Bea Priestley, and she looks like an absolute unit and all. But then they've got like Kong. There's a reason why Kong keeps going from different promotions, because she's shit. I wouldn't like to say it to her face, but she's shit. How? She's big, and she probably would whoop my ass if I said that to her face. Damn, he just got his ass kicked. But then you've got that other one that came out and saved. Oh, I can't remember her name, but the other one that came out and saved him at the charity event I did, and she's just as big. It's like, damn, yep, they would whoop my ass. See, yeah, I can understand that, but I wouldn't like to talk shit to them. I'm just saying it how it is. It's just Kong comes in, she conquers, and that's it. But that's how a monster should be. Come in, destroy, leave. Not come in, destroy, become tag team champions with Seth Rollins. Monster, yeah, ooh, Monster Man, you're gonna get these hands. Ooh, pussy. Yeah. That AEW, I'm looking forward to them all out pay-per-view, and I'm looking forward to them coming out the weekly episodic programs that they're going to be doing on TNT and ITV4 over here, which is free for the UK, which I'm really looking forward to see what it brings and how differently it's going to be done. That'll be the make or break for them. They need to get it right. I know it'll take time, but if they get it right now, they're in with a good shout of taking ratings off WWE, because like I say, WWE at the minute, I think, is in a bit of a limbo period, and they're running out of ideas, or the people at the top need a shuffle. Bring Triple H in, because he gives a bit more responsibility to the talent than what Vince does, and EC3 for me should be killing it as a face or as a heel. I just don't understand why some of I know they've gone there for the money and because it's WWE, but you've got wrestlers that won't do it. They've got a bit more pride. Look at Will Ospreay in New Japan, him and Ricochet. Go on YouTube and watch some of their fights. Unreal. Just the absolute beast it in the ring. They enjoy themselves, and it looks effortless of what they do, like flying over top ropes and doing flips. Now go back and watch the flip that Ricochet did against Velveteen Dream over the top rope. Velveteen running his mouth, thinking he wasn't going to do anything. Ricochet jumps over the top rope, nice little flip, lands it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'll tell you what, there was one thing that I did want to touch on while I was doing my podcast today. Was I read an article that JR, back when WWE was kicking off and taking some of the talent away from like the NWA and the other promotions and buying them up, like all the smaller ones, that a couple of the big bosses and that wanted to actually take Vince McMahon out, which I kind of find, which is quite funny, but that's how ruthless Vince was when he was first up and coming and making the business the way he wanted it, what it is today, to be fair. But it is, if you look at that, it's like that's just jealous promoters that just didn't get it right, because Vince was very clever. He always had his fingers in different pies, so to speak. ECW being one of them. ECW were like a feeder club for the WWE, and look at the talent they took from ECW. You had Rob Van Dam, Dudley Boys, Spike Dudley, Super Crazy didn't really do much, Sandman didn't really do much, Just Incredible went to WCW and then ended up in WWE. The Blue Meanie, Stone Cold was in ECW. That's where he made his big break after his stunning Steve in WCW. It's just like, look at where some of the wrestlers and talent came from. Nowadays, you've got just as good promotions, or probably better. You've got Ring of Honor, which is a decent show, and you've got decent teams and decent talent on it. You've got New Japan, which again, you've got decent talent. It's a good promotion, and they're looking to expand. Impact Wrestling, less said about them the better, because they've sort of died to death and they've got nobody. But if we go back in a little bit of history, so this is where WWE can probably take a little bit of hints and tips. They had AJ Styles, they had Sting, Mr. Anderson, Bobby Roode, James Storm, EC3, Rockstar Spud. Oh damn it, I missed Drake Maverick. Rockstar Spud, unreal. Yes, he's the general manager of was it 205 Live, but he's doing so much with the 24/7 title. It is hilarious. That's what makes that entertaining. That's all I watch it for, is the 24/7 title, to see if he wins it again, because he makes it entertaining. But anyway, we'll go back to Impact Wrestling overview. When Impact was at its peak, you had Bully Ray, along with the big guys that I've just mentioned, Kurt Angle. They made it entertaining. They did aces and eights, with Bully Ray being the leader and being the champion. But that's where Bully Ray is built like a champion. He should have been given a championship reign at WWE, in my opinion. And he should have been given his reign at Bully. Let him be Bully Ray, because that's what he was, a bully. Calfzilla, you know what I mean? Getting the calf suit and go, look at the size of them calves. Rah. Yeah, mint. Okay. But it's just so much. WWE could do so much differently if they use the talent to the way they should be using them, not just keep relying on the same guys over and over and over again. But yeah, actually, when I went away with the family not so long ago to Blackpool, I went to this shop. They had some championship belts that played the entrance music. One of them played Randy Orton's, and one of them played CM Punk's Killswitch Fire Burns. And I went, I Randy Orton used that music once. He used it in March 2006. He used it for 1 week, but he didn't want to use it because it wasn't him. It didn't suit his persona or personality. This young girl in the shop went, no he didn't, it was a different one. CM Punk's the only one that used this. And it just burned me. It annoyed us, because you're going, you don't know your facts. And then someone in the shop going, oh, she loves wrestling. She met a bloke dressed up as the Undertaker at a wrestling con. Really? Did you? Fucking fantastic. Well done. You didn't meet the Undertaker? Okay. I've met Chris Jericho, but I'm not gonna brag about it, because I got a signed Fozzy album by Chris Jericho when he was up here in the Doon in Newcastle. But that was a long time ago. I think it was his very first album I got signed. And I went. She made me question myself, so I do what every normal person does. Got onto Google. Oh, would you look at that? Randy Orton, 2006, March. Judgment Day, 2006. It was also used by CM Punk, which was correct, and it was also used for the new Nexus. So I wanted to go back and throw it in her face and go, you're wrong, I'm right. But I wasn't allowed, because the missus went, no, you just need to grow up. And I was like, no, you can't tell me something, not back it up, and be wrong when I know I'm right. I'm very rarely right, by the way. Always wrong, but very rarely right. On this point, I am right. Yes, I know I'm waffling on about something that's not that important, but I just thought I'd get that out there. Whereas I was right. Randy Orton was the first one to use the Killswitch Engage before CM Punk. Thank you very much. I'm right on that one. Anywho. Right. I'm just going to warn you, this is a vent. Well, I don't know why I'm pre-warning you of the event. I've just been venting for the last, was it 45 minutes? I'm not this. I'm past venting now. This is just me complaining. I just need something to happen, something different at WWE, because at the minute it is just boring. SummerSlam, the pay-per-views are pretty much the same names, fighting, mixed up. That's all it is. You're not giving the talent that you're bringing up, new, fresh blood, an actual chance. Because my prediction for the King of the Ring, I've got it written down. 2 seconds. Will be Cedric Alexander versus Elias. Just going to throw that out there, because Kevin Owens is going to get whoever. I think KO will get involved at some point away, but I've got a funny feeling Elias will get pushed and Cedric Alexander, because Alexander, he deserves it, but at the same time Elias doesn't. So I would say my prediction to win it will be Cedric Alexander to be the next King of the Ring. But as far as the main events, it's too samey. The women's division is too samey. The men's division, Kofi Kingston champion. I know I'm one of his harshest critics, but he is a good performer. He's a good sport. He's such a likable character. I don't hate him. He's a very good character, but I don't think he's championship material, because he's good at clowning around with the other two. I think if anybody deserves the championship more, would be Big E Langston. He definitely deserves a title win because of just his sheer stature and his charisma, and I think he would do really well as a championship wrestler. So having a title, he'd pull it off really well. But in overview of everything I've gone through, Monday Night Raw sucked. SmackDown was even worse. So, as one of the great TV presenters from this side of the pond, and on that bombshell, I bid you a farewell. Thank you very much for listening. Please leave a like and subscribe if you're watching this or listening to this on YouTube, or please go check out check this podcast out on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Pocket Cast and Radio Public. Please leave a review. Any questions you want me to speak on the next one, which will be next week, tweet me at Max Damage Spain, or just search for Spainster and you'll find my logo, and just give us a follow on Twitter. Ask us any questions that you want answered, or if you've got an opinion on what I can do to make it better, please leave a review or just tweet me. For the next podcast, if you want to leave a question, hashtag Spainster and then your question, I'll answer questions on the next one. But from me, I'm going to leave you a good night, and I shall see you all in the next one. Peace.